actual. Guys, start clapping super loud, super loud, it's super loud, it's super loud, it's super loud, it's super loud. Did any of y'all hear what my name was? He's just like, give it up for I'm Corey Evans. Y'all are awesome. Let's just get something out of the way. I've been learning to be more politically correct because I have this face. I look racist. I didn't know I've looked like this for a while. I didn't know I looked racist until I went to a party and I was hanging out at this party and a guy I'd never met came up to me. He's like, dude, you look a little racist. I got mad at him. I was like, fuck you, don't talk to me like that. I don't look fucking racist. You look fucking racist. Don't talk to me. Then I went home and I looked in the mirror and I was like, shit. I look like the kid who doesn't volunteer in class until we're reading Huckleberry Finn. And I'm like, I got this, teach. So I've been learning to be more politically correct. I thought it was going to be bad. There are a lot of things you're still allowed to say. Did y'all know that? Like, I learned you're allowed to say New Mexican. That seemed wrong to me. I was like, not with this face, no. Turns out you're allowed to say New Mexican if you're describing a man from Albuquerque. Nobody gets mad. You are not allowed to use the term New Mexican to describe your coworker's baby. People hate that. It doesn't matter how cute you say it. You can be like, look at the New Mexican. I got kicked out of Catholic church. I did a study, so. I used to live in Texas, small town in Texas. I moved to Chicago. That was a culture shock. Like, I met my first person who'd never been to church before. I didn't know that happened. Like, small town in Texas, our Jewish kids came to church, right? Like, we had pizza there. The Jewish kids would just show up and be like, hell yeah, cheese pizza for you, pepperoni for the Gentiles, mazel tov, let's do this. But I moved to Chicago, I met my first person who'd never been to church. It bummed me out. I've seen amazing things in church. Like, I've seen someone catch the Spirit in church before. That's beautiful. Okay, most of y'all don't seem to be on board. All right, if you don't know what this means, go to a black church this Sunday. It's amazing, right? Catching the Spirit is when the Holy Spirit leaves heaven and it enters somebody's body and it makes them do things. And it's beautiful because the Holy Spirit treats everyone a little bit differently, right? Like, if you're a black lady and you catch the Holy Spirit, you start to clap and dance because Jesus wants to see you dance. Now, if you're a white lady and you catch the Holy Spirit, you fall to the ground and convulse. Because Jesus knows you can't dance. He's like, yeah, I did water into wine, but I can't do that. I can't give Becky rhythm, no. I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher for 5 years. You don't need to applaud. I don't do it for the applause. I do it for the money, all right? 5 years. Thank you. Thank you. One person cares about kids, all right? The rest of y'all. I've been teaching 5 years. My first year teaching, I was that real hopeful teacher. I was like, all right, I'm going to make a difference, you know? I made all the rules for my classroom. One of those rules was there are no dumb questions. I teach 12-year-olds. Most of their questions are dumb. That's a rookie mistake. Like, whenever I meet a teacher, they're like, there are no dumb questions. I'm like, first year, idiot. Like, it took 2 months before I finally changed that rule. After 2 months of teaching, I was like, all right, there are no dumb questions allowed, all right? None of I had a kid ask me why he had to learn how to read. He was 12. First of all, that implies he doesn't doesn't know how to read. I deserve more money. But he asked me, he's like, Mr. Wood, why do I need to learn how to read? I tried to be the cool teacher with him. I was like, yo, dude, how are you going to read your text messages? And he went, I use emojis. And I was like, damn, all right. So when that happens, you have to be real with the kid, so I tried to be real with him, and I went, look, kid, you gotta learn how to read because you're 12 right now, and you live with your mom, and that's cool because you're 12, but one day you're gonna be 30, and you don't live with your mom because that's sad. So you need to learn how to read so you can get a good job so you don't live with your mom when you're 30, so when you go out and you meet a girl and you take her back to your place, it's not actually your mom's place, and she doesn't leave you, and you don't die alone, and that's why you need to learn how to read. And then that kid looked me in the eye, and he went, Floyd Mayweather doesn't know how to read. And he's a multi-millionaire. And my first year of teaching, I signed a contract that said I would not hit a kid. But Jesus, I wanted to hit that kid, you know? He's talking about Floyd Mayweather, heavyweight champion of the world. I pictured it in my head, like I visualized it like it was The Secret. Strong right hook to the jaw, you know? It connects, his 12-year-old body crumples to the ground like a deflated bouncy house. I stand over him and I go, Mayweather would have dodged that, man. Here's your book, read chapter 9 of The Outsiders. Stay gold, pony boy, stay gold. It's tough doing comedy and being a teacher. They're very different. Teachers are like these beautiful, hopeful creatures, and then comics are very dark and cynical. So all my teacher friends say beautiful, like, they like to say things like they say, every kid deserves an education. Every kid deserves an education. But as a comic, I'm like, we haven't met all the kids. All the kids? To counter this, I'm going to tell you a story. My first year teaching, I was walking home from school. I was teaching in Odessa, Texas. I was walking home from school. Yeah, it's disgusting, right? I've got to stop throwing that in, because at the end of the joke, people are like, that's what would happen in Odessa. So I was walking home from school. I passed this alleyway, and I saw one of my students in the alleyway, and he was kneeling on the ground, holding a pencil, stabbing a pigeon. Do we give him science? Do you want me teaching that kid? That's a serial killer. Do you want me teaching him chemistry? Like the chemicals that will burn off human skin? Absolutely not. There are some countries out there when a kid's 12, the government comes in and they decide what their job's gonna be. And I don't agree with that, but it would have really helped out with this kid. You know, the government would have came in, they would have been like, is that the pigeon kid? I'd be like, yeah, that's the pigeon kid. They'd be like, that's Ted Birdie? And I'd be like, yeah, that's Ted Birdie. So what's he gonna do? And they'd be like, I guess he's the guy who puts down dogs. That's a brilliant solution, okay? Hold on. Look, dogs have to be put down. We don't want to do it. It gives this kid a boner, right? That's a win-win-win. He loves it. Just moved from Chicago. I used to smoke cigarettes, and I moved to Chicago. They cost $13 a pack there. Yeah, Jesus. But my first week, I was still smoking. I had a pack of cigarettes in my front pocket, and a guy saw me on the train. He went, hey man, can I have a cigarette? And I went, no, they cost $13. Leave me alone. Then that guy looked at me and he went, hey man, I will give you one morphine pill for one cigarette. And I don't do drugs or anything like that, but I love deals. I'm Corey Evans. Thank